Smoking a Dutch in this video. Barack Obama has been going around giving a deep state victory tour of Joe Biden becoming the president, and Obama's philosophy on why we got a Donald Trump, on why we have to deal with him still, probably for the next 4 years, and so on and so forth, just his influence in terms of American politics. His philosophy and syllogism on this whole entire ordeal is that Donald Trump has connected more so with black people, with black voters, on a plutocracy level in terms of elitism. Rappers and different celebrities wanting to be like him, of stardom, of power, of great significance. And that's what American life is now infatuated with on a regular basis. There's some validity to that. Now, is that just the 100% complete truth? Absolutely not, because Barack Obama was the president for nearly a decade. He was the president for nearly a decade, and all he was a deep state, neoliberal, elitist, corporate hack. And now he's happy that Joe Biden is the president. He has this idea that that's merely the only reason why Donald Trump has been ascended in terms of American life, American culture. He believes this type of lifestyle, the plutocracy of living lavish and being on top. He believes that is now ingrained in our society and in our culture, which, like I said, there's validity to that. But there's real people that were hurting all throughout the industrial Midwest, all throughout the Sun Belt of our country, just everywhere in our country that Donald Trump won in terms of a populist sense. Even this time in 2020, the people were actually hurting there. There's people hurting there that said, fuck it. The people who did vote, the swing voters who did vote, but at the same time, it was low voter turnout in 2016, which is why Donald Trump won, merely the reason why he won, and then people are shocked why he loses now because voter turnout was through the roof, astronomically. Many places all throughout the industrial Midwest, because of Obama's horrible trade agreements like TPP and NAFTA, his enhancement of NAFTA, not merely doing what he needed to do in terms of really making us the number one priority, the American worker, the number one priority. These companies ship their jobs off to other places throughout the world because they understand that they can make more of a profit with other places in the world because of the labor laws. We take advantage of not necessarily a strong labor force in many of these countries forcefully having to pay their workers adequately what they must pay them. So these companies move a lot of their companies overseas and into these places to where they can get cheap labor. Lots of people here in the United States lost their jobs because of Obama's horrible trade agreements, which Joe Biden has favored heavily, which he'll go into probably more so than Obama because Joe Biden has an affinity with China. He has an affinity with that whole entire region just in terms of doing trade and the way they foresee the world in terms of just deep state elitist globalism, imperialism in a sense. That picture is the very definition of imperialism. So Obama, like I said, he's gotten it somewhat. There's some validity to what he said, but just in terms of a greater understanding, retrospect of the reality that we're in today, he acts like he doesn't know that other part, but Obama's a very smart man. He's smart. He got elected president twice, so he tricked a lot of people. Probably one of the greatest actors and puppets of all time. So he's a smart person. He's a smart man. He knows exactly what's happening. The other part, he's purposely ignoring that part because he doesn't want to have to expose himself and blame himself, his administration.
My advice to President Trump is if you want, at this late stage in the game, to be remembered as somebody who put country first, it's time for you to do the same thing.
In your view, it is time for him to concede?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think it was time for him to concede probably the day after the election, or at the latest. But the truth doesn't even matter.
What are these false claims of widespread election fraud doing to our country right now?
The president doesn't like to lose and never admits loss. I'm more troubled by the fact that other Republican officials who clearly know better are going along with this, are humoring him in this fashion. It is one more step in delegitimizing not just the incoming Biden administration, but democracy generally. And that's...
Like I said, he somewhat gets it, and he's purposely not understanding the rest of it.
Of that alternative worldview that's presented in the media that those voters consume. It carries a lot of weight.
Are you worried about that?
Yes. It's very hard for our democracy to function if we are operating on just completely different sets of facts.
You write in the book, our democracy seems to be teetering on the brink of a crisis. What do you mean?
We have gone through a presidency that disregarded a whole host of basic institutional norms, expectations we have for a president that have been observed by Republicans and Democrats previously. And maybe most importantly and most disconcertingly, what we've seen is what some people call truth decay, something that's been accelerated by outgoing President Trump. The sense that not only do we not have to tell the truth, but the truth doesn't even matter.
You see how he just acts like he just completely gets it, which to some degree he does, but there's another retrospect to it that he just isn't addressing. There's just the big elefante in the room.
Felt heard. It became a barrier for me being able to reach them.
Given the current racial divide in this country, when you look back at your legacy when it comes to people of color, do you feel there's anything more you could have done?
There's no doubt that there's more I could have done, but I feel like that about just about every issue. The Affordable Care Act, when we passed it, 23 million people have health insurance that didn't have it before, many of those people of color.
And now it's in the Supreme Court right now as we speak. Are you concerned, worried about that? The Trump administration seems to actively want to undo everything that you have done.
Well, you know, I've gotten accustomed to that, but it turns out that the Affordable Care Act, now it's actually pretty popular. 10 years later, everybody says, oh, no, we don't want that to go away, including even some Republicans. So I think it will last.
You do.
I think we can build on it and make it even better. And so when I think about whether it's how much was I able to alleviate systemic racism or tackle climate change, across the board, I feel as if I fell short of what I wanted to get done. And I'd run through a good process with smart people and listen to every point of view before I made a decision. So I could always say, you know what, I made the best decision I could.
Barack Obama won because of plutocracy. The same reason why Joe Biden won, because of plutocracy and their abilities to bring out the plutocracy in this country. This is why we have to get the centrists, the neoliberals, out of power, out of the window, out of the picture. They just don't get it. They're purposely failing not to get it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share.